Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah. I am a compulsive eater and a food addict. And like the rest of you, I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet, write them down, commit them to my sponsor, and I eat what I say I'm going to eat. I don't eat in between meals, no matter what. It's the most important thing in my life without exception. And as my sister says, and I'm now copying her, I come to these things to build a defense against that first bite. And my abstinence date was May 24th, which was last Friday, 2009. And I have to show you, I hope I can show you big enough, what my sponsor sent me. It's green, which is my favorite color, and it's blingy. And if I could, I'd put a hole in it and wear it around my neck. It's that gorgeous. I have no idea what I'm going to say. I feel it's important to share stories when we have anniversaries. But I think what I'll start with saying, as Sue heard this the other day, I've just had both my eyes cataract surgery, and my eyes got tired because I'm old, and medicine has created this way to fix them so they're younger eyes again. And it occurred to me over the weekend that when I was thinking about the miracles of medicine, that if there was a cure for what you and I have with the disease of addiction, of food addiction, alcoholism, they would have found it by now if there was a cure. And I'm convinced there is no cure, that we can arrest it, but we will always be what we are, which is compulsive eaters. Not all of us started from birth, but I believe I started from birth. I don't remember ever having a normal relationship with a bite of food. I don't remember ever not sneaking. My earliest memories are probably around with food, 8 years old, 9 years old, and then I couldn't wait for the kitchen to close and I could go in and steal my favorite food from the freezer. And I always felt like I had to sneak it. I just knew right from the beginning that I shouldn't be doing what I was doing, which says to me that there was a problem with between my ears, because other people go in and eat things out of the refrigerator and don't necessarily think they're doing something wrong. So I grew up that way, and I started dieting when I could. I realized that I looked very different. Well, we lived on the main line of Philadelphia, so everybody was blonde, petite, and Republican, so we already looked different. But I knew I was heavy. I knew I was heavy. Although my parents took me one summer to Mexico, and my father took a picture of me in a swimsuit, and I didn't look heavy, but I think I was 13 or 14, but I did look like I was about 21. So I just remember being really aghast that I didn't look fat. I was heavy and I looked old. So I just ate when I could, and the only way I could not eat was in the beginning by going on diets, and then diets stopped working, and then I had to start using amphetamines, and then amphetamines stopped working, and then I started paying money to therapists and to the shot doctors and the this and the that, and a lot of them worked, and a lot of them, like the Weight Watchers, worked the first time I got down to goal weight. I got down with the shots. I got down to a goal weight. But I could never do any of them a second time. It was like the magic was gone. Could never repeat what I'd done. And what was going on inside was that I started thinking about killing myself when I was in my teens. I never would have done it. I was far too scared, but I fantasized about killing myself all the time. The misery was pretty awful. And then in my 30s, my sister wrote me. At that time, she was living in Cambridge, and told me about Overeaters Anonymous. And it turned out that she had walked into a Gray Sheet Overeaters Anonymous meeting, but at that point, she didn't realize that there were other Overeaters Anonymous meetings. So I went to Overeaters Anonymous in California, and I don't have good memories of it. It was 1979. And I just remember I thought everybody was extremely cuckoo. And I was training to be a psychologist, and I had a therapist, and I talked therapy language. And, back then it was feminism, and we were, be in charge and be in control. And what was coming out of those people's mouths, I just couldn't get. I didn't understand it. But I, at that point, just felt like I had nowhere else to go. So I just kept going back, and I made some friends. I made some good friendships in OA. But now that I know what the original food plan was, which is Gray Sheet, I understand why I couldn't do it. They at that point, they had just, in 1979, they had just brought out the dignity of choice. And I always want to laugh. It's not funny, but I always want to laugh with that word dignity of choice, because there was nothing dignified about the way I ate and the way I hid and my eating, and throwing things in the garbage and pouring coffee grounds over them and then pulling it out of the garbage and eating it anyway, and on and on. I don't think I need to get too graphic, because I'm sure you've all been there. I did not know what to do. And I'm taking a deep breath, because I'm kind of saying my story as I remember it, but what I'm feeling right this moment. So I'll just skip over it real quickly, that I did find Gray Sheet in 1983, thanks to my sister. And I had 26 years of going in and out, in and out, in and out, and trying other things. And all that time, I really believe I just wanted to be thin, because I thought if I got thin, then I'd be loved. And if I got loved, all my problems would go away. I couldn't have said those words, because I didn't make all that connection, but I wanted to be thin. I knew that there was magic involved in being thin, and life would be different. And what I feel today, with 15 years and 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, is this deep, deep gratitude that it got to a point where I didn't care what happened. I just wanted to stop eating and binging. I was not a bulimic, never had an anorexic bone in my body. Not that I didn't try, I would have loved to at the time. So I was just a binger, and I got fat. And all those 26 years, that part in the big book, in the chapter 5, where it says, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. And they were mentally, and that, I thought that was me. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Nobody ever suggested it was the food. I don't think people knew that it was the food, and that's the gift that Gray Sheet has given me, is that I've now learned I'm allergic to sugar and carbohydrates. I'm carbohydrate sensitive, and I put that stuff in my body, and my body turns into a distillery, and I'm gone. And I don't know when I'll be gone, but I'll be gone. And I remember one time I joined a therapy group, and I had just lost weight, I think Weight Watchers, I can't remember. And I gained, in the 3 months that I was in this therapy group, I gained 30 pounds. And nobody said anything. I mean, nobody knows how to talk to us when are changing physically in front of people. I wouldn't have listened, I'm sure. Well, maybe, I don't know what I would have done, but I don't know what to say to people if I see them changing. And I just thought I was a hopeless case. I didn't think it. I knew I was a hopeless case. I knew there was something deeply, deeply wrong with me, and I was spending thousands of dollars on therapy. Today, I don't have to go to therapy. Today, I don't have to binge. I don't understand how it works, but I know that it works, and I don't question anything anymore. That's one of the things I've learned, is that I just don't question it. And I've learned it's not about nutrition. I've learned it's not about any things that have to do with all the stuff we see on TV and read in books. For
5
me,
left. 5.
thanks, Nancy. For me, it has to do with life and death. It was going to kill me. And my worst fear is that I wouldn't die physically. I would be completely dead and empty inside and just be a walking, and I would have to live out my life like that. And I just couldn't imagine anything worse. So my sister fell and has hurt herself really, really badly and is in terrible pain. I managed to fall off a chair today, and I thought I was going to do the same thing, but I was in a very small space. And I was sitting on my couch wondering if there was a time when I would have eaten over it. And because I was just amazed that the thought of binging, at the thought of getting food to fix my leg, it just didn't even go through my head. And most of the time, I don't think of food as a way to fix problems. But I'm told, and I believe, that there is going to be a time, if I were to give myself even open the door just the tiniest bit, maybe I would stay abstinent without you guys. Maybe I would stay without the program, but there would come that time, and then I'd have no insurance in the bank. I wouldn't know what to do. And I'm guaranteed that that will happen. And without this program, I don't think I would have become an adult. I was an immature person when I came into these programs. I picked fights whenever I could. I wanted to be right, not happy. I I I didn't understand. It was, everything was about me. And I didn't understand that other people didn't think that way, but I would watch movies like, what was that great movie with Atticus Finch, and he was just he had so much integrity. And I wanted that. And I've been given a chance to get that by doing the steps. In steps 6 and 7, we name those obstacles, that if we don't name them and we aren't honest that they are there in our lives and we have a choice not to go with them, we don't have a chance. So I'm not being very clear, but I've been given the opportunity to name all those defects. I know what I do to screw up, and I know I can screw up and abstinent. And so I try very hard to work this program on a daily basis. I do a service. I'm on the literature committee. We wrote the Living Abstinent. We're writing some wonderful pamphlets now. And I'm deeply, deeply, deeply grateful that this program exists. And I could not do this. I moved to Paris abstinent. I've written another book abstinent. And if it weren't for Zoom, well, Nancy's an hour away, but she used to live in Paris. There are a few of us, but this isn't a program one can do by oneself. You just can't do it, because there's just, we came in with holes in our souls. And if we didn't fill it up with the love and the kindness, where else in the world are you going to walk into a room and everybody wants you to win?
1 minute.
Thanks, Nancy. There isn't another place in the world you could find that. So I hope I've made some sense. My eye seems to be twittering all over the place. This one is the last one I just had the surgery on. And really, all I have to say, my sister's sitting there looking at me, is she's the one who got me into GreySheet. You guys hold my hand as I cross the street, and the world is is not a nice place a lot of the time. And this program is very, very hard. And without each other, just being cheerleaders, I couldn't do it. And I know a lot of you couldn't do it. But I've discovered that hard is not a 4-letter word. I can do hard now. When things look like I can't climb, it looks like Mount Everest. You guys have told me break it down into little chunks and do it one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, whatever. So
Time. Thank you.
I've learned how to finish things, and that is a huge win for me, to actually finish something I start. So I love all of you, and yay 15. Thank you for this, Chip. I just adore it. And I don't eat no matter what.